Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Janavalava Girivaradari Gopi Janavalava Girivaradari Yashodanandana Brajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanajari Jaya Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vrajanaranjana Yashodanandana Vrajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Antara Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. O Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Continued readings from Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 40. Today's text 23 and 24. Text 23. I think we'll repeat text 23, if you like. Bhagavan Jivalokoyam Mohitastavamaya Aham Mametya Sadgraho Brahmyate Karma Vartmasu Bhagavan Jivalokoyam Mohitastavamaya Aham Mametya Sadgraho Brahmyate Karma Vartmasu. Bhagavan Jivalokoyam Mohitastavamaya Ahamamedya Sadgraho Brahmyate Karma Vartmasu. Bhagavan Jivalokoyam Mohitastavamaya Ahamamedya Sadgraho Brahmyate Karma Vartmasu. Bhagavan, O Supreme Lord, Jiva of living entities, Loka, the world, I am this, Mohita, bewildered, Tava, your, Mayaya, by the illusory energy, Ahamamaiti, based on the conceptions of I and my, Asat, false, Graha, whose conception, Brahmyate, is made to wander, Karma, of fruitive work, Vardmasu, along the paths. Translation. O Supreme Lord, the living entities in this world are bewildered by your illusory energy. Becoming involved in the false concepts of I and my, they are forced to wander along the paths of fruitive work. Text 24. I too am deluded in this way, O Almighty Lord, foolishly thinking my body, children, home, wife, money, and followers to be real, although they are actually as unreal as a dream. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vandeyam Shri Guru Shri Yuta Kamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Manchakalpatrubhyascha Kripasindubhya eva cha Patitanan pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we have beautiful verses here. Akrura is in trance and spiritual ecstasy, offering prayers to the Lord. And we discussed that this is really the perfectional stage of the living entity. When the Lord reveals the illusory covering like a curtain, when that curtain is withdrawn, then one can see reality. And when one sees reality, then they also see illusion. We know this was like Vyasadeva. When he saw the absolute truth, then he he also saw the illusory energy, which was at a distance. So here Akrura got to receive the transcendental darshan of the Supreme Lord in such a beautiful way, and he also now has become acquainted with that which comprises illusion, which we're hearing here is aham mameti. So this is the unfortunate, misfortunate position of living entities who, just like someone who had a treasure that was, it was right under their home, but they went looking anywhere and everywhere, all over the world, seeking that which they didn't know they already had. So the living entities, although having an eternal relationship, a bond of love with the Supreme Lord, Jiver Swarupoy Krishna Nityadas, by the influence of this illusory energy, which influences certain living entities to become attracted to material activities here, karma, Vardmasu, the path of karma. But we know the platform of this is ignorance. And with the purification, the living entity evolves or transcends, frees itself from the influence of the external energy. So we always have a choice. There's two options. There's Maya or Krishna. Because we're minute, we require some shelter. We require to serve. So either we're going to serve the illusory energy or the superior energy. We have to serve one or the other. And one who's influenced by this illusory energy, they wander in this world. You know, when you're wandering, you're never at peace. When you don't know where you're going, you don't know where you're going to stay, you don't know how you'll take food, then you can't really be fully peaceful. So this whole material world, everyone is wandering. This life, next life, we want to try to settle up here and have our nice home and have our something permanent. Let's get comfortable. It's not going to happen. This is not the place for that. So Maya is so subtle that she creeps in and she thinks, yeah, you can do this. If you get a really nice house, you're guaranteed satisfaction, 100% guarantee. And then you got the house. And then he's like, yeah, but you needed the patio. You need the patio. And then the swimming pool. And the problem is really that your car is a little out of date. So like this is called the atyahar, over-collecting. We don't need much in this world. We see the advanced devotees, the injunction for human beings is only that which is your bare necessity. Only what your actual bare needs, you're allotted by the Supreme Lord. And when we go beyond that, we become entangled. We waste our time. Now we have so much extra time. All the time that should be used for bhajan or seva, now it's absorbed in just material things, unnecessary things. So we see the advanced devotees, they're strict in terms of trying to reduce their material so-called possessions. The living entity never possesses anything. We're borrowing. But we become entangled when we have too much. So the simplicity is the quality of a Vaishnava, and that allows them to then have a peaceful mind. What we really are trying to do in spiritual life is just generate our necessities so we can meditate. This is the practice. That my entanglement in the world should just be so that I can actually sit down and chant properly. And that's my real need. But if we don't get that connection, then we're forced to concoct so many other needs. And as it says here, become bewildered by this I and mine. And that never ends. It never ends. The material energy is so powerful. It's always pushing us. And the biggest factor is the female-male attraction. Pungsastriya. Ito. This hard knot. Hridaya granthi. Ahamameti. So then it generates further absorption and illusion of I and mine. It means this body is myself, and things in relation to the body I identify with. So even though one may have like great kings or things, in the Shastra we hear about people who have millions of wives, still the material energy will never satisfy one to think, okay, that's for a man, this is enough of this form of material enjoyment. No, the material energy will keep pushing. That's the power. Or for some women who have, had many relationships, and still they're always seeking something new. Even if it's done millions of times, the material energy doesn't, once it's in the mind, if one is not spiritually strong enough to overcome that, same experience, same thing they've had so many times, still they're seeking it. That's the power of Maya, to make us crazy. And you think about what the material, activities are, the so-called enjoyment. If you can think about it very soberly, it's just ridiculous. It's such a waste of time. Becoming attracted to a body of blood, bile, stool, urine. That's what the whole world is really obsessed with. It's an obsession. It's crazy. Because the power of Maya is influencing. So therefore one wanders along this path of fruitive work, becoming identified with all of these things. And he's come to that stage of realization where he sees, although he takes them as real, although they're actually as unreal as a dream. So there's the realm of Sat, Asatoma Sadgama. That's the realm of reality. So there is a spiritual reality. There are such things as, here it says here, a body. Yes, there is, but there's a spiritual body. There are children. There is home. There are homes. There are wives. There is money, and there are followers. But they exist in a Satchidananda, eternal spiritual reality. So this is like a transition for the living entities to get attracted to those homes. We like the homes here, but why aren't we interested in Chintamani homes? Chintamani Prakara Sadmasu Kalpa Vriksha. Those gardens, those, family members. In the spiritual world, there's family members. But it's all on the platform of spontaneous love and devotion with Krishna in the center, for Krishna. And therefore all these things are not bad in themselves, but they're bad when they entrench us in the illusion, the power of Maya. And there's many pastimes where the power of Maya is revealed, like Markandeya Rishi. He's meditating one time and he wants to see the power of the Lord's illusory energy. So the Lord says, okay, no problem. And he goes in meditation, it starts to rain. But it's not just a drizzle. It's not even just a monsoon like in India. It's a cosmic dissolution. And he's swimming and swimming and swimming for yugas. And finally he sees this, it's like an island, or he sees something there in the distance, and it's a little child resting on the banyan leaf. And he sees it's Krishna. He's sucking on his toe. And wow, he's so attractive, so beautiful. And then the Lord breathes in and everything goes into his body, including Markandeya Rishi. So eventually he wakes up from this and he sees that, wow, that was all just a dream. So we're working mad, we're like crazy people. You see crazy people, they have a mental disorder. They're not sane, there's something wrong. So all conditioned souls, we're guilty of that. We're like crazy obsessed for things that will have no ultimate reality. After this life, everything we worked so hard for, what is it going to do for us? It's not going to be there. We're not going to be there. So that means that we should try to use all our energy for devotional service and devotional, bhajan, trying to go deeper in meditation and prayer and hearing and chanting. That is the eternal benefit will come for us. So there's no purport, but there is, I think, one commentary by some of the Acharyas, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, on text 23. He says, after praising the Lord, Acarya laments, I think it should be, those who do not worship the Lord, but instead follow the path of karma under the influence of Maya, Brahmyate. So the unique thing is in this middle planetary system, we have a great fortune because the karma extends up to it promotes one to the heavenly realm if they perform sufficient sukriti. And if we think we're entangled here, in the heavenly realm, it's really difficult. It's really, the enjoyment, is such that it even is more difficult. So there's advantage of being here. Why? Because we also get a nice dose of suffering. Even we want to build our nice house, then we ran out of money and we couldn't do it in the patio. We didn't seal the patio and it rained and now it's all cracked and the car just got totaled. So then still these things can help. They frustrate us, right? The material energy frustrates us. And that's Krishna's design, that we finally realize, what am I doing? What is all this for? What is the real gain of all this? But in the heavenly realm, the enjoyment, the celestial thing, there's so much, and from what I understand, there's there's prestige, there's reputation, there's position. They're very high positions. So it's difficult to give that up. It's difficult to awaken detachment. And this is what most of the Vedas, as far as I understand, describe. The Rig Veda, the Samaveda, the Yajur Veda. They're hymns, they're rituals, they're to elevate you to heaven. To drink Somaras. But this is still wandering for the conditioned soul. The pure devotees, they think, what is this heaven? Who are the demigods? Bodhananda Saraswati says, for a pure devotee, they're like insects, like Brahma, because the position of being reinstated in your eternal identity is that awakening wherein everything else is very insignificant, very insubstantial. even the highest realm of heaven. So this heavenly, the heavenly kingdom, Swarga, it's real, but we don't want to go there. That's not our goal. And unless we develop really intense bhakti, then we might go there. Unless one really awakens detachment and aversion, unless you're averse to it, you'll be attracted to it. If you make a lot of devotional advancement, then you can get you're generating so much piety that Prabhupada said many will take heavenly planets. So that's also not a complete success for aspiring devotee. For a Gaudiya Vaishnav, that's not what we're after. But unless there's a very staunch, rejection of material enjoyment, bhukti, mukti, siddhi, kame, sakala, shanta, I don't want that, the strength to reject the temptations of material enjoyment, then, one will be attracted. We know Gopakumar, when he's going back to Godhead, he has to see all of these other planets. These are the options. And if you like, you can stay here. So does one have the power to say, no, I don't want to stay here. I don't want to stay in heaven. That will be tested. So we have to generate a deep attraction. If the attachment, the desire for being with Krishna and serving Krishna and all the inhabitants of the spiritual world is there, then that will dwarf or outweigh these heavenly temptations. And that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is coming to give through the Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This mantra, it takes one beyond all the planetary systems. There's higher, there's lower, there's hellish, there's Janalok, Tapalok, Brahmaloka, Brahman, Vaikuntha. The devotees in our sampradaya are not aspiring for Vaikuntha even. Even Vaikuntha. One can attain Vaikuntha, but Chaitanya Charitamrita explains that you can achieve Vaikuntha in the 4 types of liberation, but our goal is even beyond that, to the realm of spontaneous devotion. So beyond Vaikuntha, you have Ayodhya, Dwaraka, Mathura. Our goal is Goloka Vrindavan, the realm of spontaneous love, where pure affection overflows. It inundates all the living entities with a natural desire to love Krishna as their friend, as their son, as their master to a certain degree, as their beloved. So this is the Gaudiya Purushartha, or the ultimate goal, Prema Pumarto Mahan. And these are the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Radio Bhagavan Rajesha Tanyasta Dhamma Vrindavanam Ramya Kachidupasana Raju Vadu Vargena Vakalpita. So to worship in the mood of the residents of Vrindavan is a lofty goal. That means we have a lot of work to do. And Srimad Bhagavatam is like the guidebook. It's spiritual. This is a Satchidananda Shastra. It's different from other portions of the Vedas, which can elevate one. This is Dharma Projita Kaitavo from the very beginning. No, we're not going to talk about heaven here. So, these are Tadiya. Tadiyanam Samacharam. The Tadiya, that which in relation with the Lord, is also an aspect of the Lord. So the devotee, the name, the Bhagavatam, the deity, the Dham, all of these have the potency to awaken that higher level of consciousness of the living entity. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains the consciousness of the human being, it evolves from dormant, awakening, budding, blooming, and blossoming. So every living entity is, on their way to the stage of blossoming consciousness. You see the animals, the consciousness is or a tree, how much it's still it's covered. The higher, and human being, based on different modes of material nature and conditioning, it opens to varying degrees. Ultimately, the mode of goodness, it can open more, and then in spiritual life, it can actually bloom and ultimately blossom. That's our natural position, to be in the proper state of the pure state of consciousness of the living entity. It's going beyond the modes, even beyond the mode of goodness. And then the consciousness is pure. It can reflect the actual substance, which is Krishna in our heart. The Bhagavatam explains, just like a pool of water can reflect the object. A few verses here are not on the tip of my tongue, but to see actually the object beyond means to see Krishna in our heart. Yeah, here. Yeah, pravishta karna rantrena svanam bhava sarorham dunoti shamalam Krishna shailasya yata sharat. The sound incarnation of Lord Krishna, Supreme Soul, enters the heart of a self-realized devotee, sits on the lotus flower of his loving relationship, and thus cleanses the dust of material associations such as lust, anger, and hankering. Thus it acts like autumnal rains upon pools of muddy water. So cleansing the heart, cleansing ourselves from the modes of nature, these are also foreign, these are like enemies that have invaded our consciousness. Lust, anger, greed. So when the consciousness is pure, then that's the platform of a yogi, a bhakti yogi, a real yogi, not a ku-yogi. The material world is full of ku-yogis. They are immature or artificial in yoga practice, because they're identifying with the body and they're just mad after things that will satisfy the body. The platform of yoga is all about utilizing this material body for spiritual elevation. And yogi nam api sarvesham madgate nanteratmana shravan bhajate amam samayuktatamo mata. Of all yogis, the best one, they're always meditating on Krishna. They're always with great faith, always absorbed in remembrance, meditation on Krishna. That's what we're supposed to be doing. All the activities are opportunity to meditate and remember Krishna, and not get so involved in so many other things, so many auxiliary things that will distract us. So many other things can come, like politics, and even in our services, so many, again, unnecessary things that we don't actually need, or need to get into, or need to be involved in. That's why devotees are also, they don't want to get so involved in so many other things that are not their business. As soon as I start getting into things that are not my business, it just drains my energy, my ability to do my sadhana. So I don't need to know, if it's not my service, then that'll save us a lot of time. Hare Krishna. Any question or comments? Okay. Thank you all very much. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Go Premanandi.